Hey everyone, ready to dive into something really impactful? Like really, really impactful. We're talking social entrepreneurship today.
Yeah. It's not just about, charities or anything. We're getting into how to build solutions that really last. And the cool part is we've got this awesome guide from RoleCatcher, the Social Entrepreneur Career Guide.
It's super in-depth. Plus, we're going to see how RoleCatcher is changing the game, like in real time.
Yeah, they're really walking the walk. This guide doesn't mess around. It gives you the practical stuff, but also keeps the big picture, like actually changing the world front and center.
For sure. So first things first, what makes a social entrepreneur different? Like what's their deal?
Okay, so they really get this whole balance between making a difference and making it sustainable financially. Like they're not afraid of profit. But
It's
here's the kicker.
it's not about like getting rich.
Right, right. The guide hammers this home.
Yeah.
Reinvest those profits, make the mission even stronger.
It's like, how do we make this help as many people as possible for as long as possible? So how does that actually work? What makes what they do different?
Innovation is huge. We're talking tackling those massive problems in totally new ways. But they're not lone wolves or anything.
Oh, so it's not like the solitary genius thing.
No way. Collaboration is key. It's all about bringing everyone to the table, people from the community, the government, businesses, you name it. Everyone's got to be on board.
I bet those conversations can get pretty intense. Like, how do you get everyone on the same page when everyone has different priorities?
Totally. That's why this guide puts so much emphasis on skills, like judgment and decision making. It's next level.
Because it's not just about, like, what's the best business decision. It's got to be what's the best decision for everyone.
Exactly. And resources are usually tight, there's pressure, and you got to stay true to your ethics always. It's a lot.
Speaking of ethics, RoleCatcher has this really cool thing on their platform. Their AI helps you figure out your values and how they match up with your career goals.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it makes you think. To be a social entrepreneur,
Yeah.
you got to have a super strong moral compass, don't you?
Absolutely. And that ties into this other big skill, social perceptiveness. Like,
Right.
it's great if you've got an amazing idea, but
Can you actually convince people to care?
yes. Imagine rallying a whole community when everyone's coming from different places.
It's like good people skills aren't enough. You need to understand like the power dynamics,
Yeah.
how to build consensus, make sure everyone feels heard.
Exactly. The guy gives this great example about bringing clean water to a community. It's not just about, here's a well, you have to get the local customs, the power structures, make sure it's sustainable in the long run.
It's got to be a fit for everyone.
Ah.
It's not one size fits all, that's for sure. So the guide talks about career paths too, right?
Mm.
Is it like climbing a ladder or is it more, squiggly?
Definitely not a straight line, more like gaining experience all over the place. You start at the entry level, think research, community outreach, helping with projects.
So getting your hands dirty, figuring out how everything works. It's like RoleCatcher's jobs page. They don't just list jobs. They're algorithms like analyze your skills and match you with stuff that fits you.
Oh, that's cool.
Right, like a personalized career counselor. Then, as you level up, you get more responsibility.
Yeah, at the junior level, you're leading projects, managing teams, tracking your impact.
So you're not just following directions anymore. You're actually, like, making decisions. What about the mid-level? What changes there?
Strategy. You're the one coming up with the plan for a program, maybe even the whole organization.
Whoa. So it's big picture thinking now. You're not just focused on one project. You're connecting the dots to make real change.
And it gets even bigger. The guide talks about systems thinking here. It's about seeing how everything's connected, those social and environmental issues. You got to fix the root cause, not just the symptoms.
That's where that systemic change idea comes in. You're not just putting a Band-Aid on things. You're changing the whole system. That must take serious leadership.
You got it. And that brings us to the senior level.
So we've gone from research and helping out to like leading strategy and changing entire systems.
Yeah.
What's the top look like?
Okay, so at the senior level, you're not just leading, it's like you're leading a whole movement. You become the voice, the inspiration, bringing everyone together to create these big, sweeping changes.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's not always easy, right? The guide talks about the downsides too.
Oh, totally. They actually get into the tough parts, which I appreciate. Like, yeah, long hours, the stress of getting funding, and just the emotional weight of dealing with these huge problems every single day.
It's heavy stuff. You're not just dealing with numbers, it's people's lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The guide talks about that. You need some serious resilience. And even when you're trying to do the right thing, you'll hit ethical dilemmas, especially trying to balance what everyone needs.
Like that example with the Clean Water Project. What if the best solution for the community isn't the best solution for, like, the environment? Or even within the community, people disagree.
Exactly. These are the situations social entrepreneurs face all the time. No easy answers. It's all about being empathetic, being transparent, and sticking to your morals even when it gets tough.
So, like, ethics isn't just this one-time thing you check off your list. It's an ongoing conversation.
Exactly. And another challenge, the guide talks about measuring your impact, which is often overlooked. Having a good idea is one thing, but how do you know if it's working? And then how do you even measure that, especially with these complicated issues?
Right. Like, how do you measure if more kids are going to school? Or if a community is healthier? Those are big changes that take time.
Yeah, it's not like counting dollars and cents. The guide really makes you think about those metrics for success, like how many lives are you truly changing? They had this example, a program to help women start businesses in a developing country. Just counting how many businesses started isn't enough. You got to look at things like if their income went up, if they have access to banks now, did things change at home for them?
You're looking for the real changes in people's lives, not just checking boxes.
Exactly. And you know who's doing super cool stuff with this? RoleCatcher. Their platform is going beyond just jobs. They're making tools to help track that impact so you can show investors what you're actually accomplishing.
That's brilliant. Passion's great, but you got to have the proof to back it up. It reminds me, they were talking about storytelling on their platform too, right? Data's important, but it's the stories that really connect with people emotionally.
100%. You need both the logical and the emotional to make a difference. Speaking of making a difference, the guide also gets into how hard it is to scale up and keep that impact going. Like, having a successful small project is one thing, but
How do you make it work for thousands, millions of people?
well, what works in one place might not work somewhere else. The guide says you need strong partnerships, you got to be able to communicate your vision really well, and that systems thinking we talked about. Crucial.
You have to get people on board, be flexible, adapt as you go.
Yeah,
Sounds like social entrepreneurs need to be like masters of change themselves.
they do. But the guide makes it clear it's not just about hurdles. There's a ton of good that comes with it too.
Okay, so let's talk about the good stuff. What are some of the biggest takeaways, whether you're thinking about this career or just, want to be a better person in your own life?
You know, one thing that stuck with me, you don't need to start a whole nonprofit to make a difference. Be a social entrepreneur right where you are at work, in your community, even with your family.
It's that whole idea of see a problem, fix a problem, no matter how big or small. What else did the guide say was important for being successful in this field?
Oh, for sure. The guide was super good on building your network, right? Like, it's not enough to have the idea. You got to have the people to make it happen.
Yeah, they kept saying ecosystem, which I thought was interesting. It's like they know you can't do this alone. You need mentors, advisors, partners, your cheering section, basically.
And that's where RoleCatcher's killing it, I think. They've built this whole online space where anyone who cares about this stuff can connect. It's so smart. Remember how many people said they felt isolated in that survey? RoleCatcher's like, nope, not on our watch. They're all about connecting people.
I like that. So support's good, but what about money? That's got to be the biggest hurdle. Did the guide have any tips for that?
Totally. They had this whole section on like alternative ways to get funding, which I thought was super helpful. Crowdfunding, impact investing, even using tech to like build revenue right into your organization.
So not just relying on grants or donations.
Exactly. You got to get creative.
Like that case study they had on their site about that company giving microloans to women in India. They use part of the money from their online shop to fund it. It's like this amazing loop of good stuff.
Right. That's what the guide's all about. Think differently. Especially with tech, it's not just about getting your name out there. You can use it to make yourself sustainable in the long run.
And RoleCatcher's giving people the tools to do that.
Oh.
So cool. What was like the most surprising thing for you about RoleCatcher? You've been in this world a while.
Honestly, how much they care about you as a person. It's not just go get a job that pays well. It's like, how do you become the best possible change maker you can be? They have courses on everything. Leadership, communication, design, data.
Whoa, so it's like they're building the ultimate toolkit for like saving the world, basically.
Pretty much. And it's all tailored to making a difference, not just, climbing the corporate ladder. That's what sets them apart, I think. They get that this is more than a job.
It's like a calling, right?
100%.
So I think that's a good place to wrap up. We've talked about the good, the bad, and how tech's changing everything. But in the end, it comes down to actually doing something.
Right. Take that passion and make something real.
Exactly. Big or small, Every little bit matters. Whether you're volunteering, giving money, or speaking up, it all adds up. And if you need some help figuring out where to start, RoleCatcher's got your back. Go check them out, see what they're all about. Who knows, you might just find your calling too. Until next time.